Since the tyrant king was coming, Jane had to ask Lily to redo her hair, so she could put the crown and veil back on. However, Lily's hands were shaking. Jane guessed she was afraid of the tyrant king. With her hands shaking, it was inevitable that Lily would make a mistake. After losing her third strand of hair, Jane couldn't bear it anymore. "Stop. I'll do it myself," Jane said coldly. She was a master of disguise. It was necessary for her to be proficient in tying her hair into various styles. In a matter of seconds, she managed to restore her hair to its original state. Lily was shocked to witness this. "Your Majesty, you're so skillful." However, by the time they were ready to welcome the king, they received news from a royal servant. "Your Majesty, Lady Helena had a headache. The king has gone to Cloud Palace." Lily opened her mouth. She was angry but dared not speak. Helena must have pretended to have a headache. There was no way it could have been a coincidence. She must have seen the king returning and sent someone to fetch him. As soon as Jane heard Helena's name, she thought of her sister. Wendy had been brutally raped and attacked, and it had driven her to commit suicide. Jane needed to avenge her. The only way to win was to know her enemy well. Helena was the king's favorite concubine. An expert guard certainly surrounded her. Jane couldn't afford to act rashly. In Serene Palace, Dina turned the rosary beads in her hands. She was still trying hard to suppress her anger while she questioned everyone. "The king actually asked Richard to exchange the vows during the wedding today. Yet none of you knew about this in advance." All the royal servants standing in front of her lowered their heads. "We had no idea. George had always done whatever he wanted. There was nothing Dina could do about it. However, everyone in the world would think she failed as a parent." Dina looked sad and seemed to be troubled by many things. "Although I'm not his biological mother, I did my best to raise him. How did we end up hating each other?" Upon hearing this, all the royal servants subconsciously sided with Dina. They thought George did not behave respectfully like a good son. A servant arrived to deliver news, adding fuel to the fire. "Your Majesty, the king has returned but has gone to Cloud Palace." "Ridiculous." Dina slammed her hands against the coffee table. That bitch Helena dared to cause trouble on a day like this. She really was spoiled beyond reason and had become too arrogant. Was Wendy completely helpless? Was she going to let Helena walk all over her? Dina had hoped the queen could keep Helena in line. Now it seemed that was not going to happen. Dina wasn't the only person who thought this way. Several concubines thought the same. Those who were close to each other gathered and discussed the matter among themselves. "She can't even keep the king around on her wedding night. She's destined to lose to Lady Helena." A concubine in a green dress felt sympathetic. "I feel bad for the queen." She turned to her maid. "Dolly, prepare some emerald jewelry. Tomorrow, I will go give them to the queen." "All right, Your Highness." Another concubine sighed. "Lady Helena looks the most like Lady Rosalie. She's favored by the king. If the queen is smart enough, she should behave as the king wishes and not make a scene." A servant entered bringing news. "Your Highnesses, I heard the queen has gone to Cloud Palace." The concubines gasped and looked at each other before shaking their heads. "The queen shouldn't have done that. That's very inappropriate. If she can't remain composed, won't the king get sick of her? If things get out of hand, the king will definitely side with Lady Helena. Why did the queen do this?" They were all hoping to have a virtuous queen, who could manage the harem harmoniously like previous queens from the Foster family. Back then, concubines served the king together, and avoided competing against each other with extreme methods. Now, it seemed this queen could not be counted on. Helena hadn't even made a more powerful move, yet the queen was already losing her patience. Outside Cloud Palace, Jane was still in her wedding dress. The crown on her head was a symbol of her noble status. A queen whose wedding night was ruined by the king's favorite concubine was not only an unsympathetic creature in the palace, but would be looked down upon. It was humiliating enough to be left alone on her wedding night. She should be too embarrassed to even show up here. The royal guard on duty thought she had come to beg the king to return to her room. Before she even opened her mouth, he spoke. "Your Majesty, the king gave orders that nobody is allowed to disturb them while the physician is treating Lady Helena inside. I'm afraid I can't let you in." One of Lady Helena's maids appeared. Your Majesty, it's pointless. Lady Helena comes first in the harem. Even if you wish to see the king now, His Majesty won't dash. Jane's beautiful eyes glistened under the moonlight. She looked to the side, and her eyes instantly turned dark. Who said I came to see His Majesty? She asked calmly. Everyone was silent. They couldn't understand why she had come. Was it for the scenery? Did she want to see how much the king favored Helena? After Jane gave Lily a look, Lily stepped forward and handed a wooden box to the royal guard on duty. I heard that Lady Helena is suffering from a headache. This medicine is from my brother. It's quite effective for curing headaches. Lady Helena ought to give it a try. Everyone looked at each other. The queen had come to deliver medicine? How could she be so generous? She was definitely pretending to be virtuous. The royal guard hesitated for a moment before going inside to ask for instructions. After a moment, a physician came out to carefully inspect the medicine. He sighed in admiration as if he was holding a treasure. This is extremely rare medicine, he exclaimed before hurrying back. And a short while later, a chamberlain came out and addressed Jane respectfully. Your Majesty, Lady Helena has taken the medicine and is already feeling better. The king thanked you and instructed you to return and await his arrival. The chamberlain thought the queen would be elated to hear this. In reality, Jane did not feel an ounce of joy. This tyrant king must have been very egotistical. He asked her to await his arrival, making it sound like his presence in her bed was Jane's reward.